My reviews and insights are usually reserved for after I've finished watching, but I'm currently on Shogun, a historical mini-series whose episode 5, titled Chapter 5 Broken to the Fist, aired on Tuesday the 19th of March 2024, has an intricate plot point over a Pheasant situation whose revelation just hit me. And if you watched it, you might have the same question too. If you haven't watched Shogun or haven't reached episode 5 yet, this is the part you exit the conversation because there will be spoilers. Why did someone have to lose their life over a stinky pheasant? On the surface, the explanation is very simple. Anjin Blackthorne, as a Hatamoto, a high-ranking title usually held by a samurai who served directly under the shogunate, had instructed his household and staff, all of which came as a part of the perks of his rank and title, plus included a generous salary, not to touch the pheasant he was preparing. In his limited Japanese, he had put his point across in 2 words: touch, die, while pointing at the pheasant. His rank as Hatamoto lettered his words with a literal grave weight that whomever touched the bird would have to die. We are shocked and appalled, as Blackthorne is, in finding out that someone died over the stupid bird. Watching the episode unfold, one could somewhat predict that nothing good would come over the unpleasant pheasant, especially after the dinner with the rabbit stew which everyone was appalled by. But we did not expect the situation to actually end in death. To some of us, the death seems a meaningless loss of life, but looking at their culture, the gardner made an honorable sacrifice to restore harmony in the village caused by the Hatamoto barbarian stinky bird. Also, consider that he had a terminal illness which wouldn't result in an honorable death for a lowly gardner who most likely would never make a name for themselves in the samurai culture. If you recall, in their initial interaction, when Blackthorne is introduced to the gardner, the pilot addresses him with an honorific for which he is rebuked by Mariko that Sama is only reserved for a certain class. In death, he served a greater purpose. Why did Blackthorne hang the pheasant to rot? The seemingly senseless death aside, what kind of cookery was Blackthorne up to? Hanging pheasant was a way of tenderizing the meat as well as enhancing its unique game flavor and texture. Fresh pheasant tastes almost indistinguishable from the common fowl, but when allowed to mature, it becomes a rich dish. Hanging pheasant is something that was mostly practiced by the elite who did not live hand to mouth. A pheasant would be hung for about 3 to 12 days depending on the weather, or according to some people, until it fell off. Then it would be ready to cook. While a well-prepared pheasant dish was a feast worthy of a king, did someone have to die over it? Why the gardener really died? Deviously diabolical disingenuity. Sure, Blackthorne was ignorant of the Japanese culture and carried on like a belligerent foreigner, uncultured in the intricate ways of the Japanese. But was the gardener's death on his hands? In the opening act of the episode, Toranaga rebukes his son for being used to precipitate a war in the previous episode. Later, we learn Toranaga doesn't seem particularly fazed by the consequences because they play into something he already had envisioned or planned for. having the war come to him on his home turf where he has the advantage. Toranaga is a master manipulator of both friend and foe. The exchange between Toranaga and his son may foretell what's to come in how all men are broken but can be manipulated to serve one's objective. Just like a falcon can be trained or broken to a fist, as the episode title implies. You may or may not have missed the tidbit that his spy and trusted samurai is not only the spy whom is being hunted for by Yoshige, but also the village head. To protect the village, he offers to give himself up, but is ordered to find an alternative. The village head is the one who called the meeting to find a resolution over the unpleasant Pheasant situation, where it was ruled that it was a household situation to be dealt with in the Hatamoto's residence, thereby cementing the fate of whomever disposed of the sticky bird to death. Instead of a more diplomatic solution where Mariko could impress upon the Anjin the consequences of his Pheasant directive and its impact. Very convenient for the village head when you consider that he was in need of a scapegoat to pin the spy business, as commanded by Toranaga to not give himself up. While Blackthorne was a foreigner unaware of the customs and implications, there was a deliberate and brutal weaponization of said ignorance by the village head, which was to Toranaga's bidding, as nothing could possibly happen without Toranaga knowing about it, especially in the Hatamoto's home, where he is probably many steps ahead. What are your thoughts on episode 5 of Shogun?